It's almost over for the summertime. I'll be home in a minute. She feed me good when it's supper time. Damn, I admit it. I'd rather be with you than to be with them. Wasting money, girl, ain't winning. You changed how I feel from the beginning. I'm tired of living life full of sitting on.
Testing. All right, y'all hear me? Good. All right. What's going on, everybody? This is James Inniss. I'm here with another video real quick. I'm walking the streets of New York City, so I just know that I'm gonna stop walking. I make a lot of travel videos, you know, I ride my bike around the city, I make short films, but I do other stuff, and this is gonna be a video about that other stuff. I'm also an organizer here in New York City. I'm a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Yes, I'm a card-carrying socialist. I do a lot of activism here. I do a lot of organizing here. And I also, guy just popped in. And I also tend to speak at rallies here and there. So this is actually a clip of me speaking at a rally here in New York in April, I want to say. So yeah, this is just a clip of me speaking at a rally. The rally is about public power, trying to turn for-profit public utilities into public utilities, I guess. So I don't know, just watch the video, like, comment, subscribe, obviously, but I'm actually curious to see the comments on this. I want to see how you guys feel about the work I've been doing, the work we've been doing, and things like that. And if you agree, if you disagree, it doesn't really matter. I just like to hear all opinions. I like everybody to have a voice, so speak on it. Let me see what you say. If you want more of this stuff, let me know. If you don't, let me know. And enjoy the video. I'll see you later. This is James Inniss. Here's from New York City. This is Broadway. Just want to shout out real quick. That's Broadway. And I'll see y'all on the next video.
Environmental racism. Environmental racism defined two different ways. Internationally, it means rich countries dump their trash on poor countries. But domestically, it means when we produce energy, the negative effects of that are felt in working class, poor, black, and brown communities. And that is something that we see here in the Bronx.
That's right.
The Bronx has historically been New York City's poorest, New York City's most resource-deprived borough. And the population of the Bronx is 90% black and brown people. Relatively speaking, Manhattan is 45% black and brown people. The most polluted census tract in New York State is the West Bronx, where we're all at right now. Pollution is 270% higher here than the city average, which is ridiculous. And not coincidentally, this area of the Bronx is 95% black and brown people. 4 of New York's 10 aging power plants are located in the Bronx, which concentrates the negative effects of their production, the pollution, the ground contaminants in these black and brown neighborhoods. Our neighbors who live next to these industrial sites are disproportionately exposed to harmful pathogens and airborne pollutants, and they don't even know about it. And one of the main problems that comes from this is asthma, right? The asthma rate in the Bronx is double that of the average. The hospitalization rate for children in the Bronx is 70% higher than the rest of the city, and 700% higher than the rest of the state. Over a quarter of the Bronx's population is considered in poor health. 16% is the average for the state. Now, Con Ed isn't the blame for every part of these things, right? But poor energy infrastructure produces poor energy service. Poor energy service results in high energy consumption, which leads to overworking these aging and poorly constructed power facilities. Which means these neighborhoods are being polluted more and more and more. And lastly, the more inefficient their public utilities are, the more expensive it is for us to use. So now we're paying more for their worse service. It sounds like the MTA, I know, right? This happens because Con Edison's goal isn't to provide good service to us. Con Edison's goal is to squeeze as much money as possible out of his customers. That's why in New York we pay the second highest utility bills in the country, which is completely unacceptable. Con Ed skimps on repairs, causing bigger and worse blackouts every year. And then every summer, their servers get overworked, and they cut the service to the black and brown neighborhoods. And then while the service is being used extra, they're also polluting more to the black and brown neighborhoods to keep the lights on the Upper East Side. Finance failure disproportionately harm black and brown communities here in the Bronx, while enriching themselves and their stockholders. They poison the air, undermine union workers, and cut power to working class neighborhoods, like I said, while keeping the power on in the more affluent. Our energy system is controlled by an unaccountable, for-profit corporate monopoly who's incentivized to deliver profits to its shareholders over good, affordable, and safe service to not just us, but the planet. A public service that's for profit is a complete contradiction of words in itself. A real public power system would not just save us money, but would be more accountable to us people and help us transition to a green energy infrastructure, which we desperately need. In 2008, a transformer exploded in Queens. 2009, there were major blackouts all over Manhattan. If any of us performed like that at work, we'd be out of a job immediately. It's unacceptable. Con Edison in 2019 made $1 billion in profit, paid out $850 million to their shareholders. Their CEO, John McAfee, makes $9 million a year, $4,000 an hour for us regular people, right? A publicly owned, democratically run utility is not the goal of this campaign. It's the way to achieve the goal of the campaign. The goal of the campaign is an equitable, safe, and green energy infrastructure that will lead the nation, that everybody would want to follow. That's why we're out here talking, and that's what we're fighting for. Now, public doesn't mean like the MTA. It doesn't mean like NYCDSA. We don't know who runs the MTA. We don't know who runs NYCDSA. When they say public goods, they mean for the public. When we say public goods, we mean controlled by the public. We're here today because we want legislators, State Senator Gustavo Rivera, the Attorney General who represent this area. I'm from the other side of the Bronx, Carl Heastie, Jamal Bailey. We want them to support these two bills that are living in Albany right now called the Public Power Plan. That's why we're out here speaking. That's what the goal out here is for. We want everybody out here to reach out to their local representatives to tell them to support these bills. Like was just mentioned, I came off of a Tax the Rich campaign where literally that's all we did. Went out all day to make sure the constituents knew that it's their job. It's not that they're allowed to. They're supposed to contact their legislators and let them know what they do want and what they don't want.
You got results too.
Everything is relative, right? We wanted 50 billion, we didn't get 50 billion, so that means next January, we're gonna be right back out because there's a lot more money to be had. And the last thing I'm just gonna say is, we can't pass a Green New Deal with for-profit utilities in charge of it. It's just not going to work. We need to get bills like this passed, not just in New York, but the whole country, so we can turn the whole country over to what it has to be, not just for us, not just for future generations, but for the whole planet, because that is really what we need to do, right? Thank you very much, everybody.